I have literally tried to introduce this video so many times. I don't know how to do it because I'm stressed that I'm going to say something wrong, or I'm going to offend someone, or I'm just not going to get across the feelings that I want to get across in this video. I am just really scared to film this video. It has been so long that I've tried to play it off that it's like, okay, Elodie, this is a part of your life. It's a part of a lot of other people's lives, so you're going to have to speak about it at some point. I want to dig in deeper than I usually do. So this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. I just kind of blanked out of my mind. I don't know if it was conscious or subconscious, but there's something in my head when I think of mental health. I just try and shut things down because of how it's affected me. I don't like to talk about it because it's just weird. I've told a few of my friends about it, and I'll like bring it up, but I don't like to talk about it in a very formal setting, you know? I'm scared that I don't know, what I felt like was that what I went through doesn't compare to what other people went through, or like people might not believe me in the way that I felt. I didn't feel like my feelings were valid, or are valid now. So now, you know, I've kind of had to kick myself and tell myself that everyone's feelings are valid, and if I felt it, surely I should be able to express that to other people. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I haven't wrote any notes down. This is just me talking to you guys about mental health, about self-confidence, about just how to be yourself, and also social media. So a girl that I know on YouTube, Laura, she made a whole video about mental health, and I'm gonna put a little clip in because first of all, her editing's brilliant. Second of all, I love watching her. Like, you know when you watch someone and you just think like, you just feel so comforted, like you feel like you know them even though they don't know you. But anyway.
We are willingly posting daily updates about what we're doing.
A lot of the apps that we use on smartphones are designed to be addictive. And there are actually people out there putting news in our news feeds that are actually designed to upset us.
On social media, we're surrounded by people and companies consciously and subconsciously telling us that we need to be someone we're not, that we need to believe a certain thing, buy a certain product, feel or love a certain way and speak our minds, but make sure we're not too outspoken because that's not socially acceptable. Representation online is still not as good as it should be. We're taught from a young age that we need to glow up to be attractive, and that who we are right now isn't good enough to meet the social standards that we're presented with. That we're unlovable if we don't meet these standards. That taking a certain pill, changing our physical appearance, or using a certain product will make us a better person. Well, here's why society is making you question who you really are.
I was already planning on doing a video like this, but when I saw hers, it like made me want to do it even more, and how important it is to speak about it, because I don't know, especially in terms of social media, you look at me and you think she's perfect. Well, I don't know if you do, but some of you might think she's perfect, she has a brilliant life, nothing can get her down. We only really show the highlights of our lives, which I think, yes, is toxic, but also you could say like, well, I don't really want to put out my personal feelings on the internet. But just me telling you that my life is not perfect, I hope that just gets that across to you right now. So I just want to be able to come to you guys and make you guys feel better. Obviously, I'm not a therapist. I can't cure you from your mental health issues, but I can at least reassure you that you're not the only one. And it might reassure you to know that someone like me, or someone that you look up to, or someone that you think is bulletproof or perfect, actually goes through similar things to you every single day. So I'm going to start by putting my experience into perspective. I feel like that then can bring on other things I want to discuss. As I said, I haven't written anything down, so this is purely just out of my mind. I couldn't even sleep last night because something was telling me that I need to film this video. I need to do something that is going to actually make a change. Like, not a huge change, but for someone who watches my videos can be like, wow, I'm inspired, you know? Anyway, moving on. So, my personal experience. I have never been the most confident person. I've kind of been insecure with my looks. I didn't feel like I fit in with the white people. I didn't feel like I fit in with the black people. So I feel like that's kind of where it started. But I kind of wanted to be like how they were on TV. And this is where I'm going to talk about later, which is the media. Even from such a young age, I saw Hannah Montana. Not saying that it's like Disney Channel's fault, but I looked at Hannah Montana. I looked at you know, the typical Disney stars, and I thought, I want to look like that. Why are they like so beautiful and I'm here with frizzy hair and ugly? That's what I thought I was. I wanted to have blonde straight hair. I wanted to have this perfect life that Hannah Montana lived. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, but as I want to point out in this video, just because everyone can relate to something doesn't mean that it's not valid. Like, we all have our insecurities, and that doesn't mean that it makes them less important, because that clearly shows there's something wrong with our society and how we were raised to make us all feel like that. It's literally like sociology. We're literally all in a package of insecurity. This is us in a box. Surely if there's so many people that are saying they feel like this, then that's important. As I started growing up, the insecurities kind of got worse. I went through puberty really early, so I had spots really early, I had boobs really early, period really early, that whole stuff. So that kind of caused insecurities. I just was generally quite a awkward kid. I was quite weird. I don't really think people got my humour. I was never like prioritised by anyone. Like, well, that's how I feel anyway. I never thought that I was like, apart from my parents, very important to people, because I was kind of like out of the ordinary. That's how I felt. And then time went on and social media came along. I think I should have got Instagram when I was at least 14, but I got it when I was like 12. I wish I could go back in time and just delete social media from my life, because I think that really did play a part of my insecurities with myself. So when I was in year 9, so when I was about 14, I don't know how old I was in year 9, anyway, like around that age, my anxiety fully begun. This stemmed from a lot of things. I don't want to get into too much detail, but it felt like every single day was a struggle. Like, getting out of my bed was like the worst nightmare. I was always tired. My legs would ache, my arms would ache, everything would tingle, I would feel like nauseous, I didn't want to eat anything. I don't know, like, we thought I had Lyme's disease, we thought I had anemia. All came back that I didn't have any of that. I used to take blood tests regularly. If I carried on the way I carried on, I think that it could have turned into depression, because the way I was going, I didn't socialise with anyone. Like, the panic attacks were extreme, so that was obviously the anxiety part. I felt like I was drowning, like no one could save me. Like, I was literally like, I couldn't breathe, I was crying, I was yelling at anyone who tried to like touch me or help me. I don't know, I was just in a really dark place. I kind of lost all my friends. I started to retaliate on a lot of people for no reason. So anytime anyone said anything to me that was remotely rude or negative, I would react in the worst way possible, which then made me get more anxious and sad. So yeah, I would have to get out of my bed, and my mum would have to bring up my food and like massage my legs, like trying to get them working properly because they tingle so much. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, the way my body just felt like it wasn't mine. I felt like I was dead. Like, I don't even want to over exaggerate that. Like, I literally didn't feel like I was living. There was nothing really to live for. I didn't really think that my life was going to go anywhere. And not that I was suicidal, but I just felt like this is going to be my life. And then obviously, if you guys know, I was homeschooled for a bit. I got basically kicked out of my school for money reasons because I went to a private school. That made it extremely worse. I was at home all the time. I wasn't around anyone. I was just trapped in my room with my own thoughts. So that became very dangerous, and I feel like if I didn't go back to school, as I said, it would have potentially turned into depression, and I wouldn't have, as easily as I did, come out of it. For a long time, I just played it off like it didn't happen. When it kind of like started to subside, if my mum brought it up, I'd be like, no, I'm fine. Like, don't say that I have anxiety. I don't have anxiety. I just tried to pretend like none of that ever happened. And I tried to move on, which I think is a good thing for the most part. Like, I didn't want to dwell on how I was feeling, but also it was very, very toxic because I wasn't coming to terms with how I felt and then dealing with it. Like, I was just ignoring it. Now I'm able to fully express it, and me being able to just tell you straight, like, tell all of you guys that I have anxiety, and even just telling myself, like, literally coming to terms with my own self that I went through that, and that I can get better from it, and I need to understand why I was feeling like that. That can stop it from happening again. A lot of people try and tell themselves that everything is okay, and that's good for the most part, but it can be very damaging because you're not dealing with the actual problem itself. You're just masking it up like makeup. You're hiding all the spots underneath, but they're not going to go away if you don't use treatment. Like, obviously everyone can talk about it, but I know what it's like to go through it, so I feel like I've got, not tips, I don't know what I've got, but me just coming here and trying to help in some sort of way, I think is helpful. So, one thing that I do want to talk about a lot in this video is social media and just teenagers and how we roll, and how maybe that's not the most positive way to live our lives. As you all know, social media has taken over pretty much all of our lives. Personally, I don't think I could live without social media because I just like to post Instagram pictures and have people comment on how I look, and it makes me feel good about myself. I am social media addicted. I don't think people like to put that out there. People like to say that, oh, social media is addictive. They like to say social media is addictive and it's bad for your mental health, and that's why I go on runs every day and try and do yoga. People will say that there's a problem, but people will never say they are having the problem or they are the problem. For a lot of it, the social media influencers will be causing people to feel insecure. I will take responsibility for that because people may look at my feed and be insecure by it. What the problem is that the people that are potentially making the other people feel insecure about their looks need to stand up and say, I have bad days too. I have pimples. Sometimes I feel ugly. Sometimes I just cry. Sometimes I just watch Netflix and eat and eat and eat all day. Sometimes I don't even want to eat. Sometimes I am depressed, you know? And obviously there might be people like somewhere in the world that have none of these issues, but I can highly, highly doubt it, because as human beings, life isn't perfect. Come on now, we pretty much all know that. And these abnormal people, we try and see them as being those who do not have normal people problems. They do, because inside they are just as normal as all of us. They try and portray themselves as being not normal, but honey, we know that you do the exact same as us, so don't try and play it off. Being an influencer, you have, whether you like it or not, a responsibility. If you can't take that responsibility and you're going to go through life being okay with the fact that people are insecure when they look at your posts or look at how you live your life, then you are seriously doing something wrong. You shouldn't even have social media, because you could post the exact same post that you post on Instagram, but just let people know every now and then that, look honey, this is just a trip when I was in the Bahamas last month. I'm posting it now a month later whilst my boyfriend just broke up with me and I'm a mess and I am just eating all day, you know? I'm not saying you have to do it like that, but you get what I mean. As a normal person looking at these people, I'm going to be addressing you guys now. I'm assuming that you guys aren't having like 1 million followers on Instagram or something crazy, but when we look at these people, obviously we do feel not good about ourselves. We feel like we have to correct ourselves in some way, we have to behave in a certain way, we have to try and make our lives suit how society wants our lives to look. When you start to do that, you start to feel anxious about how you look, you start to feel self-conscious about how you look. If you think about life without social media, who would you be? What would your life look like? What would you look like? How would you dress? Who would your friends be? What would your hobbies be? All that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't allow social media to influence you at all, because I get a lot of myself from social media, but I think when you're doing it in a way that is beyond sincere taste, like you don't actually like that, that's where the issue comes in, because you're just trying to copy trends. I don't think I got that part across very well, but what I was trying to say is that if you like look at a part on your body, or if you look at your face, or if you look at the way you dress and you don't feel like there's any problem with it, or you don't need to change, but then you see it on social media as being ugly, or you need to change that part of yourself, that's when it becomes a problem, because you shouldn't feel like you have to change any part of yourself to match social media's ideals and society's expectations of you. Also, another thing that is very, very prominent about social media, not just the way other people look, but it's about how you look and about your likes and the amount of comments you get and the validation that other people give you to make you feel better about yourself. I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but if you get it, then we move. I am obsessed with likes. I feel down if I don't get to a certain amount of likes that is seen as like good on my page, then I might delete the post, even if I feel like I really like that post, I want to keep it up. I almost get anxious if I don't get enough likes on Instagram, and people might be like, oh my gosh, like she's so obsessed. Face it, you probably feel the same. And I feel like that takes a lot for me to come on here and say that, because people don't like to own up to their own actions. People like to see other people as weird for caring about social media so much, but I do. I'm just going to say it right now. I care about social media. I care about likes. I want views on my videos. I try and make videos that get me loads of views. Sometimes I might sway away from things that I really want to do because I know it won't get as many views or likes or comments or compliments or, you know, brand deals, stuff like that. That is normal. Well, it's not normal, but it's normal in our society to feel like that, and that is not my fault. That is not because I am self-centered. That is not because I am a narcissist. That is not for any reason apart from the way that we've been raised and how our society wants us to feel. Society now has created this like whirlwind of insecurity, and whether you like it or not, you are on that. You are not your phone. You are not your Instagram page. You're not your followers. You're not your likes. You're not your views. You are not anything You're technological? I don't know what. You're not anything technological. Yeah, that's the word. Social media, likes, comments, that whole list. The list. You are not that list. That list does not define you. You are your own person. We have lost our true identity. Our identity is fueled by other people's identities, based on other people's identities, based on other people's identities, where even the people's identity that you're trying to copy isn't even their true identity because they got it from someone else. Do you see what I mean? It's literally like a ladder. I don't know who the person at the top is. I don't think the person at the top knows who they are. So we're literally trying to copy an identity who doesn't even know who their true identity is. We've lost our individuality. I think we were a lot more individual before social media ever existed. Social media is a way to express ourselves, don't get me wrong, but I don't think people have tried hard enough to make sure that it doesn't go too far. I think as teenagers now we're going to have to make a change, because being a teenager, this is your prime time. This is a time where you want to start finding yourself. This is a time where you literally are supposed to live your true self and be who you really want to be. But it has been clouded now by social media's expectations that we don't even know what it is to be real. Like, we literally don't even... The word real isn't even in our vocabulary anymore in the way that it should be. We're going to have to start making decisions based on our own personal choices rather than other people. And a lot of the time it can be subconscious and we can do things that we think we really want, but really it's what other people want of you. But as long as you know that that is how your life is potentially programmed to be, I think that's when you can start making choices that are really for yourself, not for trying to make other people happy. This is just coming from someone who also feels the way that you do. I am at a better place than I've ever been, but I know that there's a lot more work to do. I have started keeping a diary. My mum doesn't know this. No one knows this. I haven't said anything to anyone. For the past month I've been writing in a book that I got given on my 16th birthday. I'm nearly 18 and I did not even open the book. I said that I was going to, but I didn't. But now I'm just writing my thoughts in. If I'm sad, I'll write in it. If I'm happy, I'll write in it. And that is really important. Write about when you feel like you have achieved something. That's very important. I know it sounds kind of cringy doing a diary, but it really does help. I'm able to track my thoughts, because a lot of the time, me being an anxious person and having panic attacks in the past, a lot of the time it stems from my brain just being so frazzled. I can't comprehend the feelings that I'm feeling. So me writing it down in sentences and punctuation is a lot better than just keeping it in, because keeping it in is what, you know, makes things bad. If you are going through something, tell someone. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense. I'm just literally speaking out of my brain and what I'm trying to get down. I don't think it's coming out how I want it to come out, but I'm hoping that you guys have string things together. I hope that you took something from this kind of all over the place video. I didn't want to structure it too much because I wanted it to be as real and as raw as I possibly could get it. I just wanted it to be a one-on-one chat with us guys, us friends. You are my friend. But yeah, love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye!